Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the table. This is our table, you know.
Yeah.
And maybe the government will take the exam and organize the table because you have told me many things. Maybe I will think to say it in French because I know that we are all together and francophone, anglophone need to try. Ils doivent essayer de se comprendre d'une manière ou d'une autre.
Well, Cameroon is bilingual, so.
Et je voulais te dire tout ce que tu m'as dit aujourd'hui, moi en tant que francophone, moi ça m'a vraiment beaucoup touché. J'ai envie de dire que je partage cette peine, tu vois. Parce qu'après, je crois que tu as eu face à toi quelqu'un qui a eu une perception anglophone, francophone du problème. Et malheureusement, les francophones sont plus nombreux et ils ont tous cette perception un peu erronée, un peu mal prise du problème. Et peut-être que moi, je voulais peut-être en m'excuser aussi de la part de tous ces francophones-là, parce que l'information qui est reçue transforme les gens. Ça transforme les gens et ça les éloigne de la réalité. Aujourd'hui, je suis même tenté de dire avec toi, je suis d'accord, on est vraiment face à un problème anglophone parce que je peux ressentir cette douleur aujourd'hui. J'espère que beaucoup de francophones vont suivre également ce débat et qui vont percevoir cette douleur et pouvoir la ressentir parce qu'il ne suffit pas juste d'être solidaire. Les francophones vont à l'école, les anglophones ne vont pas, les francophones ont Internet, les anglophones ne l'ont pas, les francophones vivent la vie tranquille. Boya, Bamenda, c'est totalement militarisé, oui, c'est quand même difficile. Et on devrait pouvoir se regarder dans les yeux pour se dire oui, c'est un problème qui existe seulement dans la zone anglophone et que oui, on est peut-être face à un réel problème anglophone, quoi. Voilà, et qu'on va pouvoir pas seulement être solidaire, parce que si on est un pays, si on est dans la logique où c'est un problème camerounais et que les francophones dans leur position peuvent dire que c'est un problème camerounais, je crois qu'il ne faut pas seulement être solidaire, mais il faut partager, il faut aller à l'action, il faut manifester cette solidarité. Il ne faut pas juste le penser, il ne faut pas juste le mettre sur Facebook ou sur Internet, mais je crois que les francophones aujourd'hui, c'est qu'ils auront peut-être ça et qu'ils auront peut-être le temps de discuter avec, qui vont faire le pas vers l'autre, c'est-à-dire vers l'autre qui est son frère anglophone, ne va pas seulement être solidaire de cette peine, de cette douleur, mais va pouvoir manifester cette solidarité. Mais j'espère qu'on sortira de là étant un seul pays, you know? Parce que si on se radicalise aujourd'hui, si on reste bloqué, si on reste figé, et qu'on n'a pas cette table pour discuter, si on n'a pas, on ne veut pas l'imaginer, on ne veut pas la créer, maybe we have a problem.
Yeah.
That is my point. Après cette discussion, parce que j'aimerais dire autre chose, il faut que les gens discutent. Il faut revoir l'information, il faut revoir peut-être l'histoire. C'est pour ça que je ne veux peut-être pas revenir sur l'histoire, mais il faut faire évoluer l'histoire. Il faut que les hommes soient au-dessus des signatures. Il faut que le vivre ensemble. Il faut que toutes ces petites choses nous se mettent au-dessus des politiques. I think. Maybe, parce que si c'est juste faire du fédéralisme pour juste se diviser, parce qu'il faudrait qu'on voie. Si le fédéralisme va unir le pays, si le fédéralisme va rendre les Camerounais plus solidaires les uns des autres, si le fédéralisme n'est pas peut-être un mécanisme de division, alors le fédéralisme est une bonne solution. Mais il faut qu'on interroge toutes les solutions. Il faut qu'on interroge, il faut qu'on se pose des questions. On doit avoir des solutions, je crois. Et j'espère qu'on va interroger le fédéralisme aussi. On va interroger les approches des uns et des autres. Si l'objectif à la fin, c'est d'avoir une société qui ne se radicalise pas et où le vivre ensemble va primer sur la politique.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Vasero. I think you've touched every facet of this, what I'll call the Cameroon predicament. And if I can glean from what you said, I think you understand, you actually comprehend your history, the history of this country, Cameroon. You see, I'm always interested in, every time I want to engage in this, dialogue about the Anglophone problem, the Anglophone predicament, the Anglophone crisis, and things like this, I always want to take a mental flight and I go back to our history. Because I think when I go back memory lane, I actually understand, and of course, you as well, where both of us are coming from. I mean, when I talk both of us, I talk about you yourself as a Francophone and myself as an Anglophone. If we can trace our origin, if we can trace our respective histories, we can better understand this problem, and we, of course, can carve a way forward, provide or prefer solutions to this predicament. You see, when you look at if you trace the historical background of the Anglophones, fellow Southern Cameroonians, you will realize that when I'll go back to 1946 when I talk about when we look at the UN trusteeship agreement, where the UN had mandate, granted mandated territories to Great Britain and to France to help this, trust territories or these colonies, guide them towards independence, and subsequently France granted independence to La République du Cameroon, of course, 1st January 1960, and 1961 the Southern Cameroons, of course, also had their own independence, and subsequently the Southern Cameroons had a plebiscite where they were posed with two options: either to join the independent, Federal Republic of Nigeria, or to join La République du Cameroon. And thereafter, they met at Fumban, where two entities, came together and surrendered their loyalties and accepted, of course, to form or to build a state in 1961. And if you look at it, they accepted, they met in Fumban on the basis of equality. Two entities meeting, surrendering everything on the basis of equality to form a federal structure that will best suit both of them. But you realize that since the inception of that to this moment, the Anglophone feels marginalized. The Anglophone feels that they are convinced that everything about them, be it their culture, be it their history, be it their origin, be it their territory and their identity, it has, as a matter of fact, been assimilated by the Francophones. And today, there's a problem in this country. The Anglophones, they want to go back to the drawing board in 1961 because they don't feel comfortable with the way they've been treated by their Francophone brothers. You have a lot of people clamoring for federalism because they think it is the lasting solution. It is the only and it's the best suitable solution to this crisis. A lot of them going back and saying, oh, there are some schools of thought. People say we want to secede, and others say, okay, let's go get back to federalism and things like that. But in the midst of all of this, as a patriotic Cameroonian, I think what is important to us is the future. How do we carve out the future in this present dispensation? How do we forge ahead and ensure that the mistakes that we've made in the past, we correct them? How do we do that? But then when you look at the way things are going, if you look at the way the government is addressing the problem, the government is not giving a lasting solution to this. Yeah. Because to my mind, the government simply is providing cosmetic solutions to this problem. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at it, what is happening, if you look at the dialogue that's been going on between the consortium leaders, that's the Cameroon Anglophone Civil Society, if you look at the way things were going, how everything got stalled, how everything suddenly broke down, and the leaders were arrested. And then I seem to pose a lot of questions to the government. What is happening? Is it that the government was negotiating with terrorists Who were the government negotiating with? That today they are bragging that they are terrorists. What is happening? Today they are in detention. They were arbitrarily arrested and charged with terrorism and rebellion. And so is it that the anti-terrorist law that was promulgated, was it that they conceived that law because they were actually waiting for a moment like this? And is this the best solution to it? What is the best solution? What are we going to do with the Anglophone areas, the regions that has been heavily militarized by the military? Is that a solution to the problem? What is happening to the outlawing of these organizations? The ACNC was recently outlawed. The Cameroon Anglophone Civil Society Consortium was outlawed by the Minister of Territorial Administration. Is that the solution to this problem? What is the solution? So I think we should look at the solution to this problem and lay aside our grievances, lay aside our emotions and sentiments, and then look at this, sit on a table, have frank talks, frank and patriotic talks in respect to carving a way forward to this predicament. I think it's very important for us to look at this and come up with solutions to this problem. Because of course I understand that you understand the history of this country. I don't want to belabor the point, but now the problem is the solution to this crisis, to this predicament. So that's it, and I think if we have frank discussions, then we can carve the way forward in respect to that.
Comme dirait quelqu'un.
Yeah. With regards to having a sit down and talking, half an hour ago their emotions were running high. We calmed down a bit. Velcero actually apologized for his point of view. Did it help anything that he acknowledged the suffering you're going through right now?
Yeah.
Like when people go and sit,
Yeah.
would you say it is important to not only listen to each other but hear each other? Like, does it help you?
That doesn't help.
Does it help you to remain focused, feel emotions because it's normal,
Yeah.
but not to let your emotions run away with you? Because I see you right now, and your energy is,
No,
very
it's
much into it. And before it was
okay.
you were like two waves crashing.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Ouais, je sais pas si je perds un peu mon latin sur tout ça, ça a l'air un tout petit peu compliqué parce que c'est voir comment une société peut changer, comment les gens peuvent changer, comment des gens peuvent vivre dans un même endroit mais être de totaux étrangers. Mais il est important qu'on se parle, mais qu'on s'écoute. J'espère qu'on va prendre le temps de s'écouter, pas seulement parler, parce que si on parle sans écouter, et si on ne laisse pas les autres aussi même nous écouter parce qu'on parle trop, il y a de fortes chances qu'on ait des positions très tranchées. Et quand on a des positions très tranchées, on a difficilement une table pour discuter parce que quand c'est raide, je crois que c'est ça aussi le problème. Il ne faut vraiment pas que ce soit raide parce qu'on serait à la radicalisation. Je peux juste te dire que voilà, on n'a pas un problème franco-anglophone, mais le Cameroun a un problème anglophone. Et ça, c'est peut-être ma petite conclusion personnelle et que ça concerne tous les Camerounais, voilà, anglophones ou francophones, tant qu'on est Camerounais. Merci. Merci beaucoup. Thank you, guys.
Are we concluding?
Yeah, you can.
I think, Velcero,
Yeah.
I want to definitely thank you for your contributions to this problem. And as I said earlier on, the president has a trump card to seek a lasting solution to this problem. Because as you can see, if you look at what is obtaining at the empirical level now, you realize that if we are not careful, this problem is going to jeopardize national unity. Mm-hmm. And I think the president should not give in to those around him, with those in his political camp, because these are politicians who have been discredited by the population. I'm talking about those in his political camp, the CPDM. And on the other hand, when you look at also the Anglophone elites, they have been discredited as well. And you see their tones are a little bit, they have this kind of warlike tones, and it's not helping the problem. Yes, this is not helping us, because they make, they try to, you know, the Anglophones perceive them as if they are trying to provoke them, you know, and they are trying to fuel the crisis. You get it? So I think if the president could constitute a team, you know, from the various facets of the society, let them have some kind of a talk, talk to these aggrieved persons. I'm talking about those in the Anglophone regions, some kind of an appeasement talk with them. And then after they are done with that, and then they can now set the pace, I get it, me, for negotiation. And of course, they can really get a long way in respect to this, in respect to curbing this problem. You get it? But first and foremost, let him release all those who are in detention. That's the first problem. Let him release them. And I would also say that I believe if the president can make an apology, I get it? Send words of apology to all those who were subjected to egregious forms of rights violation. Myself in particular. Yeah, I don't want to. There's no gainsaying of the fact that I mean, I was brutalized by law enforcement officials. I don't want to say that. I don't want to get into that, because if we are carving the future, we should forget the past. But then, if they can release all those who are in detention, have frank and patriotic talks with these people, it will go a long way to curb the present crisis that we are facing, and demilitarize, you know, those the Anglophone regions. Yes, because it has been heavily militarized as we speak. Yes, and it instills fear to the population. Children can go to school because, I mean, just looking at the streets, everyone is scared. And also, there's something. I would also say that the leaders of the two Anglophone regions, they must firmly condemn, you know, the violent abuses against people and their properties. Yes, I'm against violence. Yes, I'm not for it. I'm against violence, and I think that if violence can never be used as a way, you know, of enhancing this cause. Yes, if they can condemn violence, and then on the attacks of people and of course their properties, both private and public, it will go a long way to solve this problem. Yeah.
Quelles que soient nos positions, chers parents, comme diraient les gens, n'oublions pas les enfants. N'oublions pas les étudiants, les enfants ils ne peuvent pas aller à l'école, qu'on soit du bord anglophone, francophone, politique, consortium, il y a des vulnérables au milieu de tout ça. Ces enfants qui ne vont pas à l'école, ça ne va pas leur amener une année scolaire blanche. Donc il ne faut vraiment pas perdre de vue des gens qui ne sont pas sur la table et qui subissent d'une manière ou d'une autre cette situation tout aussi tranchée que c'est. Les enfants ils ne vont pas à l'école, les femmes, les enfants, le travail, Internet, le développement. Les plus jeunes, la société, même les gens qui font le business pour leurs propres affaires aujourd'hui, je crois que ça ne marche pas bien pour eux. Donc, n'oublions pas qu'au-delà de toutes nos bagarres, il n'y a que des victimes innocentes.
Wow. And one thing, this message should go across. The Anglophone problem is not about promoting bilingualism and multiculturalism in this country. The Anglophone problem is beyond that. Yeah. The Anglophone problem is not a problem between Anglophones and Francophones. But the Anglophone problem, to my mind, is the systemic marginalization and institutionalized discrimination against the people of the former Southern Cameroon state. So this message should go across and reach a wider audience. It's not a problem between Anglophones and Francophones.
Right?
Thank you.